Hello, welcome to this episode of The Search. This episode is a little different than our normal episodes, as really I'm just putting out all the facts that pertain to the missing girls from the small town of Delphi, Indiana. We're going to put the facts together and we're going to put the phone number out for the hotline. So if anyone does know anything about this case or about the man shown in the photographs of this case, please give that number a call and try to help us solve this case. There is a 6-figure reward out as well. So please, if you know anything, just give a call to the hotline. It's a little different this time. It's not a mystery for entertainment, really more just an informative video with all the facts pertaining to the case.
Over 100 people out searching the area last night, walking both sides of the creek bank.
In Carroll County, police are set to regroup and restart the search for 2 missing girls.
Together, okay? That way we cover more property, quicker time.
21, copter 5.
We have found 2 bodies. We are investigating this as a crime scene. We suspect foul play.
State police and the FBI have been on the scene now for several hours. A number of units and teams have been here trying to gather information.
Bodies have been positively identified as Abigail J. Williams, 13 of the Delphi area, and Liberty Rose Lynn German, 14 of the Delphi area. This is considered a double homicide investigation.
The 2 girls discovered in the woods, authorities asking for your help tonight. Their last Snapchat and the image of a man authorities would like to talk to.
And they now have enough evidence to call him the prime suspect.
We do have some new information for you today. Liberty had the presence of mind to turn on her video camera, but there's enough there that somebody could recognize this person's voice.
And if you're watching, we'll find you.
There have been more than 11,000 tips come in to our command center.
If somebody knows something, somebody has to know this person, recognize that voice.
It's not easy, and a lot of people are putting a lot of work into this, and we're hoping that the tip's there, and we're going to find it.
Retired homicide detective Robert Snow has monitored the case of the murdered teenagers from day one. He spent 6 years supervising the homicide unit at Metro Police before retiring. Although he's not part of the official investigation, Snow believes the evidence made public so far will help find the killer. The retired detective has published more than a dozen books. His last 4 are real-life accounts on solving murder cases. He sees the Delphi case as one that can be solved.
They got a good picture, they have a voice. Somebody knows who this person is, or somebody recognizes the voice. This case can be solved. This is obviously not a local person, the person that killed him, because somebody would know him. Somebody in Delphi would recognize this person. This person could be somebody just passing through Indiana. Could be coming from the East Coast to West Coast, what have you. You got to think, why Now, again, I'm not privy to the autopsy results or what other things, so you have to want to understand, why did this person do this? Obviously, the person had a reason for killing these two young girls.
This is breaking news from Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Why Libby? Why Abby? Why Delphi? Why Carroll County?
Investigators today are speaking out about the unsolved double homicide in Delphi, and there are new startling developments. It turns out one of the victims took this picture of a suspect and captured his voice before she was murdered. Listen carefully to this brief audio recording. Do you recognize this voice?
Downhill. 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 Downhill.
Police say that's the voice of a suspect saying 3 words, down the hill. We're going to play that audio again in a moment in hopes that you may recognize it and help solve this double homicide. We want to begin, though, with the stunning developments out of Carroll County today. We've got Matt McCutcheon beginning our coverage in Delphi after police brought us this startling information. Matt?
Good afternoon, Scott. By far the biggest development out of this half-hour press conference is the release of that 3-word audio recording that came out today. And we're also learning the heartbreaking development that 14-year-old Libby German knew something wasn't quite right, got her phone out, snapped both the picture of the suspect and that recording of the audio that could also be of the suspect as well. That's part of what we're learning here today. Police say they still have not been able to positively identify this suspect, his name or his whereabouts, his location, but they continue working over hundreds of leads. In fact, they say they estimate they receive about a dozen calls to their anonymous tip line each hour, and they're not just joined by local, state, county police, but the FBI. Today we learned that a team of nearly 24 FBI agents are also joining in the search to help them on any leads that they receive, going all around Delphi and surrounding communities trying to find that suspect. There is also a concern that that suspect may have somehow changed his appearance, so that's also why they're releasing that audio recording. Today at this press conference, you really got a feel for the emotional toll this is taking, not just on this community, but on the investigators. Well, they also released a stern message to that suspect.
And I would suggest to you that every time something like this happens, a little piece of us dies as well. We must keep our resolve for Libby and Abby, for this community, and frankly, to ensure that good trumps evil. As poor as this picture is, somebody knows. And if you're watching, we'll find you.
That last sentence you heard right there from the superintendent of the Indiana State Police, we will find you, going out to that suspect because police are confident they will be able to make an arrest quickly in this case. We also learned that as a part of the help by the FBI, they will be circulating his image on billboards, not just here locally, not just across the state of Indiana or even the Midwest, but they say all across the country as they intensify their efforts to try to find that suspect. We're also learning there is a cash reward. Right now, there's about $40,000 available in a cash reward for information leading to an arrest in this case. That's as community agencies, businesses, and people all across this area continue to support the fund to help bring an arrest in this case. Scott?
I think it's amazing for a lot of our viewers to think about this young teen girl who was able to capture the video of this suspect, this picture that we've been showing for days, and now this audio recording. And even though we just got a snippet of it today, Matt, are there any additional recordings or video?
Police say that there is additional recording. There are additional recordings on that cell phone from Libby German that they were able to recover, but we don't know what that is. They're not releasing that right now because they say it's crucial to their investigation. They don't want to give out too much information. Take, for example, the fact that we still don't know how those girls died. Police are not releasing that because they don't want to release too much information that may give their hand to the case. For example, someone who knows something may talk about details that aren't yet known. police will be able to trip them up and then hopefully lead to an arrest. So there is more information that police have that they aren't releasing just now, all while that search continues with many agencies working to make an arrest.
All right, Matt, thanks for your coverage today at noon, and we want you to hear that audio recording again. State police say that Libby German used her cell phone to record this voice before she was killed. Again, listen carefully.
Downhill. 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 Downhill.
Again, that's a loop of a voice saying down the hill. They've got this audio looped, and that's the reason that you do hear it several times. Now, if you want to listen to that audio recording again, or take another look at the suspect's picture, or learn more about this case, we've got it all for you right now on WTHR.com. You can also open up the WTHR app.
It's going to be very hard tomorrow. I miss her a lot.
A Mother's Day without her daughter, and still without answers in finding her killer. Today marks 3 months since 2 Delphi teenagers were murdered. Our David McAnally shows us the search for a lasting way to honor their lives.
New memorials mark the trail close to where Abby Williams and Libby German were found murdered 3 months ago this weekend. Outside Delphi, gates now close off the trail while safety repairs are made. Police continue the search for this suspect, his voice captured on the victim's cell phone.
Downhill. Downhill.
The families continue the search too.
Just keep praying that we find whoever did this, because these girls deserve justice.
Libby German's mother, Carrie Timmons, joined hundreds in Delphi at a celebration of life for the 2 girls, raising money for a new park and softball complex to be named for Abby Williams and Libby German. This is the season that they should be out on the diamond, their families cheering them on.
Those things are been taken away from us, you know what I mean? That's no longer part of our daily life, involved in softball like it was, you know. And that's the things that hurt. There's some rough times. Still it hurts. Hurts bad.
But events like these, the community support, helps keep families going.
It helps the sadness a little bit.
The sadness of a Mother's Day weekend.
I do have 3 beautiful daughters still here with me, but it's going to be very hard tomorrow. I miss her a lot.
But with a $250,000 reward still out there, the family's still confident somebody will come forward with the key clue that solves this case.
We have a killer on our streets, running around our state, our nation. We need to get that, and I need people's help to do that. Somebody knows. Please call it in.
If you know something, please call the tip line. And thank you. And I thank everyone.
There is still a $250,000 reward in this case. If you have information, you can call the 24-hour tip line at 1-844-459-5786. We've also got that number for you and an email address where you can send tips at WTHR.com.
And that breaking news is from Delphi in the murders of 2 young girls. This sketch just coming out in the past hour. Police hope it helps lead to a break in the killings of 14-year-old Libby German and 13-year-old Abby Williams. Eyewitness News reporter Rich Van Wyk joins us live this afternoon from Delphi with what he's learned. Rich?
Naomi, put simply, investigators are trying to put a name with that face. They believe this individual is at one of the individuals who participated in the murders. They believe this individual in the artist's sketch is the same man in that fuzzy photograph we've been looking at for months as police try to find who killed Abby Williams and Libby German. The individual police are now looking for in this artist sketch put together with witnesses as well as that video we've seen, that one frame of video. They say is a white male, 5'6" to 5'10", heavy set, 180 pounds to 220 pounds. He has reddish brown hair. Police are saying don't focus on the hat, focus on his facial features. It was February, 5 months since the community was shaken by the murders of the 2 best friends, Abby and Libby. They were hiking a popular trail just outside of town when they disappeared. Their bodies were found a day later in a secluded wooded area. There have been dozens of detectives and hundreds of police officers working this case. They've got a $230,000 reward out there that hasn't produced a suspect, let alone an arrest. What they're counting on now is that someone sees this sketch, again, put together with a witness, put together with the still photograph we've seen before. They can come up with a name and give police a telephone call.
It's basically just a clear picture of his face compared to what you saw down below. We've got the information out there, the pictures out there. Now we got this composite that we feel that is the same. We feel it is the same person, and we just want to make sure that people realize that that picture is this person. We're hoping, and that they can get that picture and take that picture and get us some information on a possible suspect.
We put the number and email address people can call if they think they know who this individual is. Police insisted today that this is not a cold case. It's been going on for 5 months, but they say they are still getting 5 or 6 leads a day. One of those leads, along with this picture, helps them solve a case that has haunted this community, Naomi, now for 5 months.
And Rich, folks have been asking us for a long time what they can do to help, and today I think it's sharing that picture as many times as they can. Thank you, Rich, for your live report from Delphi.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Search. I know this is a little bit different. It is just an informative video, and the detective who was speaking earlier in the video, he did talk about how he didn't think it was a local person, as no one has recognized him yet. But the 2 stills that have been released by the cops, they are very grainy. It looks to me like the person in those stills, he dresses just like everyone else in this small town. Every male that I've seen that was interviewed, he actually had a hoodie on with a cap and looked to be basically the same way dressed as the man in the 2 stills that were released. Also, the audio release is just down the hill real quick. It's very hard to see any inflections or any kind of personality in those really quick words that he said. So they're being dressed exactly the same. There have been a lot of tips going to the hotline on local people, and the cops have put out warrants and searched through homes of local people, probably because he's dressed just like everyone else, everyone they interviewed. If you watch any interview, especially with the local man that actually owned the land that the bodies were found on, he looks to be just like the man in the photograph. He's got a coat on, he's got a hoodie on, he's got a hat on, it's a camouflage hat. And then his son is in the video too, and he's dressed exactly the same as the man in the 2 stills that were released by the cops. I think it would have been more helpful, and may still be more helpful, if the investigators were to release the full video of him walking, just so you can see how he walks. I know they may keep that video because of something he may have said in the video to the girls, and they want to keep interrogating everyone until someone slips up and says something that he said that they haven't released, and I understand that. So what they could do, of course, is take the sound file completely out and just release the video footage of him walking, so the local people could then see how he walks, and it may actually give away someone who it is in town. I'm actually from a small town, and if 2 little stills like that were released in my small town here, I wouldn't be able to call the cops on anybody. Even if I thought I knew the person, it would be someone very similar that a lot of people would be calling in on the same way that's happening there in Delphi, Indiana, because the 2 small stills look like everyone in town. So it's really not very helpful for the investigation. I think that's one thing hindering their investigation, is they could release some more information on what's going on. But other than that, if you do have any information, please give a call to the hotline number. And of course, if you like the video, just hit a like or subscribe for us. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good day, and we will see you next time.